Good evening. Thank you all for being here. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:01 p.m. and ask everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Leslie, roll call, please.
Mark DePace,
Here.
Amanda Grubler,
Here.
Kirsten Gustafson, Calvin Lewis, Diana Howard,
Here.
Matthew Mackerer,
Here.
Maureen McDonald.
Sheridan.
Oh, I'm sorry, Maureen Sheridan.
Here.
Okay, I make a motion to accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor? Our student rep is not here today, so that brings us to our recognitions and presentations. First up, we have the Pioneer Charitable Foundation.
That's me. Does this work? Where do I stand?
Right there's
Here?
great. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You can like lift the mic up a little bit.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. And thank you so much to Dr. Pennyman for inviting me to speak tonight on behalf of the Pioneer Charitable Foundation. My name is Alexandra Armstrong, and I'm a financial advisor as well as a member of the Pioneer Grant Committee. I'm proud to say that I spend my days right here in Hudson as part of Hudson Financial, a business that's been part of the community for over 17 years. Besides working with local families and businesses every day, our team has supported many great local initiatives over the years, organizations like Claverick and Hudson Libraries, Columbia Memorial Health, the Backpack Program, Habitat for Humanity, and Make-A-Wish, just to name a few. A couple of years ago, we partnered with Pioneer and now operate as a subdivision of their wealth management team. One of Pioneer's major focuses has always been community involvement, and I'm thrilled about their commitment to expanding those efforts here in Columbia County, and grateful for the opportunity to advocate for this area I love. My roots here run pretty deep. My great-grandparents and grandparents all grew up in the city of Hudson, and my soon-to-be 97-year-old grandmother was also an Italian teacher in the district for many years. My parents and most of my aunts, uncles, cousins, and friends all attended Hudson. I've even worn a passed-down class of 1957 Hudson High School ring every day for the past decade. But that's enough about me. Let's talk about the foundation and all of the incredible work they do. To kick things off, I'd like to share a short video that highlights our mission of helping kids be kids, and it'll introduce you to some of the other faces behind Pioneer. I hope this works. One more, thank you.
We started our charitable foundation in 2018, and then we initially funded it with our initial public offering in 2019, and we've had a tremendous impact since then.
To date, we have contributed $1.6 million to our local community organizations, and our employees have volunteered 12,000 volunteer hours.
A child should never have to worry about what am I going to bring to school? Where am I going to get my school supplies? How am I going to
So the foundation's mission of helping kids be kids is a commitment to supporting, there we go, local organizations that enhance the lives of children through education, wellness, youth sports, school supplies, and essential services. And every dollar raised supports this mission, since Pioneer covers all administrative costs, ensuring that 100% of the proceeds goes directly to community-based nonprofits. Since its founding in 2018, the foundation has distributed over $2 million in grants to over 400 nonprofits serving children and families throughout the region. Pioneer employees also log significant volunteer involvement, with a participation rate as high as 71%. Before I get into the school supply drive, I just want to briefly touch on a couple of the other programs within the foundation. Here we have our two cornerstone events, which have collectively raised over $200,000. The Grand Carnival, which takes place annually right in the parking lot at Pioneer headquarters on Wolf Road. It's where we invite families in the community to visit for a fun day of games, entertainment, and food. Our 7th Grand Carnival will take place this September 13th. And then we have the mini golf tournament, where corporate teams compete against each other, playing putt-putt for a great cause. This year's tournament was our most successful yet, raising $16,000. And then additionally, we have our Pioneers with Purpose program, which encourages employees to advocate about causes that they are involved in and passionate about by applying for a one-time monetary grant on their behalf. It's entirely funded by employee donations, and recipients are selected by employees like myself who serve on the grant committee. And last but not least, we have tangible giving. In addition to school supplies, this also includes food, winter hats and coats, bedding, and baby supply drives. Items are collected across Pioneer's 22 branches and through employee donations. This is our 5th annual school supply drive, and hopefully our biggest yet. Last year's is going to be hard to beat at over 4,800 total items. That was after Bill from the IT department really threw down the gauntlet and sent a bank-wide email, which started a donation battle between every department. But I think we still have a chance this year. I'm hoping we'll do really great. So I want to wrap up by saying how excited that the foundation is to be partnering with Hudson City School District, and for the chance in a few weeks to meet the community in person at the Back to School Ice Cream Social. Getting to interact with the kids and families that we're doing this all for is truly the most rewarding part of what we do. It's a great reminder that these efforts aren't just about supplies, they're about creating confidence and giving every student the tools they need to start the school year on the right foot. On behalf of the Pioneer Charitable Foundation and everyone on our team, thank you so much for welcoming Pioneer into your community and for allowing us to be part of something so impactful. One more thing to say.
I have one question. Oh, sorry.
Question?
I
Okay,
thought you were
that was what I was gonna do. Welcome questions.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I'm just curious, how do you refer a family that needs help or a wheelchair or any of that? How do they get referrals?
So we work with programs that
Something like Catholic Charities would reach out to you and say, we have a family that...
Yes. Yep. So we do direct grant if a organization can approach Pioneer directly. We have done that in the Hudson area. We've recently done that a couple times with Friends of Hudson Youth. They've emailed just our foundation and with a proposal. And then you can also, if you know an employee who can apply on your behalf, that's also a way to do it. This is, I think, the first time I know of that we're doing a public event with the school drive, which is really great. So hopefully this will be a long partnership with Hudson. Is there any other questions? Thank you. I'll leave a few business cards in case anyone thinks of anything. But thank you again, Dr. Pennyman. I'm really happy to be here. Of course. Of course, thank you. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next presentation is our 90-day fiscal analysis.
So good evening. My name is Christy Ferry. I'm the Executive Director of Business and Finance here at Hudson City School District. This evening I'll be just presenting to you my 90-day fiscal analysis, strategic priorities, and phase implementation. I started here just around 90 business days from today, and just wanted to give you a brief overview of some of the kind of the strategic planning and phase implementation that we've been looking at. So to start, just to review our mission, we embrace all students and inspire them to achieve their personal best as Boo Hawks and beyond. Our vision, we create and continually nurture an inclusive learning environment that honors the many passions, cultures, and talents of our students. And as students, staff, and community, we commit to learning, exploring, and achieving together. Also our guiding principles. As this relates to our 6 keys, strengthening the instructional core, improve data-driven practices, promote a positive, inclusive school environment for all stakeholders, strengthen instructional leadership capacity, tiered approach to school support and intervention, and increase monitoring and accountability. So as part of this 90-day fiscal analysis, I want to take a moment to highlight several key accomplishments and milestones that reflect the progress made during my first 3 months in the role. To begin, the 25-26 school budget was passed with voter approval, affirming public support for the district's financial plan and priorities. We also secured voter approval for the district's capital project, enabling us to move forward with critical investments in our facilities and infrastructure. In terms of external funding, we were awarded the 2025 SNAP ED Community Growers Grant in the amount of $50,000. And this grant supports our efforts to promote wellness, nutrition, and community engagement through school-based growing initiatives. Operationally, the business office is now fully staffed, including the successful hiring of a payroll clerk, a key role in maintaining accuracy and efficiency in payroll processing. And in addition, we've established regular business office team meetings and rooted in the idea that clear is kind. These meetings are helping us align our expectations, clarify procedures, and build a more collaborative and transparent team culture. These early wins reflect a strong foundation for moving forward and are the result of both individual effort and collective teamwork. So as part of my entry into this role, I conducted a fiscal analysis over the last 90 days to develop a clear and objective understanding of the district's current financial practices and operations. So this analysis was not meant to solve everything in 90 days, but rather identify the conditions we're working within, spotlight risks, and recognize opportunities for improvement. The work was guided by 4 primary objectives. First, to identify high-risk fiscal and compliance issues. This included reviewing grants, revenue, and expenditure trends, budget coding practices, and any areas where our financial procedures may create exposure to risk. These are the items that will require prioritized attention moving forward, particularly within our multi-year planning framework.
Second, to identify misalignments between financial operations and district policies. This involved evaluating whether our current practices like purchasing, reporting, and budget monitoring reflect the policies adopted by the board and the procedures expected across departments. Third, to identify gaps in transparency and internal controls. This included assessing how clearly responsibilities are defined and how well financial information flows across teams, and where improvements in oversight or documentation are needed. And fourth, an analysis aimed to identify areas where we need to build long-term financial sustainability and capacity. That includes looking at staffing levels, business office workflows, and the systems and tools we use to support sound financial planning and forecasting. The results of this 90-day analysis are intended to form a thoughtful phased response, one that will be outlined in a 3-year financial improvement plan. That plan will include clear action steps to address the issues identified while building a stronger and more sustainable foundation for the district's future. I have organized the key findings into 4 distinct priority levels. These priorities reflect not only the urgency of the issues identified, but also the types of systemic work required to support continued improvement. Each level is designed to build upon the other, moving from compliance and controls towards alignment and sustainability. The first most urgent priority is compliance. This includes the identification of high-risk issues that may expose the district to regulatory concerns or audit findings. These areas primarily relate to grant fund management, expenditure classification, and procedural adherence. Timely attention to these items will help safeguard district resources and ensure our operations remain in good standing with state and federal requirements. The second priority is improving operational processes and internal controls. While not all of these issues are urgent, they are foundational to the district's financial integrity. This includes clarifying approval workflows, ensuring consistent documentation, and strengthening internal checks and balances. Enhancing these control systems will promote greater accuracy, accountability, and efficiency across departments. Alignment. This focuses on ensuring that our financial resources are tied directly to instructional and operational priorities. Specifically, it involves conducting a thorough review of staffing, program costs, and building level allocations to ensure that we are meeting student needs effectively and equitably. Stability and capacity building. This fourth and final priority is to promote long-term stability through increased coordination and capacity building. This includes providing professional development, improving cross-department collaboration, and establishing systems that support multi-year financial planning. A stable and well-supported business office is essential to maintaining momentum and ensuring that improvements are sustainable. So while the 90-day fiscal analysis was not intended to resolve every issue, and for this evening, it's just the overview or the summary for specifics that will be coming at a later time. It's not intended to resolve every issue or in an immediate way. It has provided just a roadmap for targeted strategic work going forward. So it's important that the work is grounded in clear values that guide not only what we do, but how we do it. The following guiding principles will anchor our financial decision making moving forward. Transparency. Transparency means providing clear, accurate, and timely communication about the district's financial position. This includes regular updates, straightforward budget presentations, and open dialogue around funding decisions. Transparency builds trust and allows all stakeholders, families, staff, and community members to understand how public funds are being managed in service to our students. Accountability is the commitment to using every dollar responsibly. It means aligning spending with priorities, adhering to policy and regulation, ensuring that resources are used as intended. Accountability also includes internal oversight, making sure processes are followed, records are accurate, and that we continuously monitor our impact. Ultimately, it's about honoring the trust placed in us by the public. Stability means creating systems that correct past issues while preventing future risks. It requires disciplined financial management, strong internal controls, and consistent practices that allow us to navigate change without disruption. Stability allows us to plan with confidence and support our schools without having to rely on short-term fixes or reactive measures. Sustainability focuses on the long term. It means building a foundation through staffing, technology, training, and policy that supports continued success well beyond a single fiscal year. It's about aligning resources with strategic goals and ensuring that today's decisions won't compromise tomorrow's needs. Sustainability is what ensures the district can remain strong, responsive, and student-centered over time. So as we look ahead, I want to share just a path we're committed to following, one that's grounded in fiscal responsibility, operational excellence, and most importantly, our responsibility to students and the community. This roadmap is not just plain on paper, it's a declaration of where we are, where we need to go, and how we'll get there together. Year one is really about stabilization. Also, looking at a 3-year financial roadmap, the idea is just to emphasize that this is a long-term plan. However, if we're able to stabilize in a shorter time, then obviously we can move into strengthen and sustainability quicker. But to start is just to look kind of at a long-term solution. Year one is really about stabilization. This is where we confront what needs to be corrected. We identify the compliance risks, we correct inaccuracies, and we bring clarity and structure to our systems. It's about taking responsibility for the processes we inherited, for the procedures we need to improve, and for the trust our community places in us. We're really looking at stopping short-term fixes and shifting to long-term thinking. We're invested in the groundwork, making sure every policy, code, and every dollar is tracked, aligned, and intentional. This is when we really need to stop reacting and start leading. Next, when the foundation is stabilized, we start to build. We refine our systems, strengthen our controls, and empower our teams. We look at what's working, what's not, and we do all of the work of aligning our fiscal practices with the district's instructional goals. And this also really looks at resource allocation review. For year 3, it's where we're looking at sustainability. When we're stable, our systems are strong, and we build infrastructure to carry us forward, not just for the next year, but for the next decade. So we're prioritizing long-term financial health, and we embed continuous improvement. We give our schools the clarity, consistency, and confidence that we need to plan, innovate, and grow. So the path forward is really about follow through. What comes next is shaped by 3 clear priorities that will guide our financial leadership in the months and years ahead. First, we will continue providing updates to the board and the community. Communication must be ongoing, not just when there's a budget vote or a crisis. We will keep financial information flowing regularly, clearly, in a way that supports both understanding and accountability. We can also share ownership for the work ahead. Second, we will develop long-term financial planning aligned with district goals. This really moves beyond annual budgets and short-term fixes. So we'll be working on building a multi-year financial strategy that supports staffing, programs, and student success. And finally, we will continue to build public trust through transparency and consistency. Trust doesn't just come with statements or presentations. It really comes with consistent work over time. And that means staying open to what we're doing and clear about our why. So the path forward is really grounded in clarity, communication, and commitment. Thank you. Any questions?
You mentioned that, so you did this initial, like, sort of fiscal analysis, and then that rolls into a 3-year plan. Is there a deadline for, or an anticipated timeline for when there would be more details
So I think
that
some
would
of
be
the,
shared?
yeah, so absolutely. So some of the details I think that I provided to the board in the board weekly. However, in terms of details will also come out in our audit. So we're in the middle of both our internal, external audits, and those will absolutely be identified in there. And I'd like to combine those with the things that I had already mentioned.
Awesome. But there's also like a 3-year plan, it sounds like, that you're developing.
So yeah, so it has to do with on what needs to be, I think, arranged first to correct any compliance issues that'll be addressed first.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So can you give us any idea what you've identified so far? So we're 3 months into the year the first year that you're talking about, and I know you're talking about having goals and working towards them. So I'm just wondering if you have any more to share of what you're going to be working on during this first year? Or future goal? What is it that we need?
Like specifically?
Yeah.
So one of the specific things is really working on our coding and ensuring that everything is coded accurately. So I've started that recently with our administrator retreat and really explaining budget codes and the responsibility of who supplies budget codes, and that makes sure administrators are aware of how to access what they need in terms of funding. The other thing is the difference between a general fund and a federal special aid fund. And so that's an understanding that really needs to be further explored, and how to choose which code to spend which item out of, and understand that there's over $3 million of grants here at Hudson City Schools, and everything needs to be coded accurately.
And so that wasn't happening. And do you have any idea of why wouldn't that be happening? Like, why is it taking you, a new business person coming in to identify that needs to be done?
No, I identified that immediately, and so the issue is to find where the funds have been located from the grants. If they're put in a wrong code, it's like looking through $58 million and finding every single requisition to identify if that's supposed to go in the general fund or in a grant fund. And so that takes a lot of time.
Absolutely. I guess my question is, I'm questioning why that's just happening now. Why isn't, I know you're new, but and I guess so I'm just putting that out there to everybody. Why?
Yeah. Well, I think that the short answer is there's been a tremendous amount of turnover in the business office, and I wouldn't say that that's an excuse, but it is certainly the reality.
Yeah.
So it would, sounds like there are systems and norms that people got away from, and now we're trying to course correct and create a plan that makes sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I'm not the one that coded the materials and supplies inaccurately.
Oh, I
but
know. I wasn't trying to. I was actually giving you credit for recognizing it and doing something about it. I was just wondering why it wasn't being done before you came.
Right. I don't know that. I wouldn't know that.
Well, Mark
Right.
answered that question. So thank you.
Great. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Ferry. Brings us to board reports. Audit committee.
The audit committee has a meeting tomorrow morning, but nothing to report until after that.
Great, thank you. Facilities Committee?
Nothing to report at this time.
Thank you very much. Policy Committee?
We have not had a meeting since the last board meeting, for once.
Great. All right, we'll call out all the upcoming meeting dates at the end of this meeting. For the board president's report, we have been busy collaborating with the central office, trying to conduct a full audit of all district staffing numbers, ensuring there's a long-term roadmap that addresses the needs for both the upcoming school year and in the future. We know there are many positions still to be filled. We're eager to hear how those are going and hope to have a comprehensive overview in the coming weeks. I'd like to commend Matt and Diana for attending the NYSBA School Leadership Conference in Albany over the weekend. It's events like that that help us continue to learn and grow as a board. On that note, yesterday we held a board retreat moderated by Mark Snyder from NYSBA. We covered subjects such as board governance, agenda setting, parliamentary procedure, and board planning. It's very, great environment to be in with our fellow board members and Dr. Pennyman, and learning new ways that we can continue to grow and improve our board meetings. So we hope to try out some new things in the future and hope that everybody agrees that they lead to more conducive and inviting and informative board meetings. And next we have the Smart Schools Investment Plan public hearing. I make a motion to open the Smart Schools Investment Plan public hearing at 6:34 p.m.
Second.
All in favor? Now at this time would invite any comments or questions from the board or from the public about our Smart Schools Investment Plan. I'm sure Ms. Rabinovitz would be happy to answer questions that anybody has.
Mark, maybe can you just give a little quick synopsis of what it is, maybe just for the public or so everybody knows what we're...
Absolutely, yeah. I'm sure Ms. Rabinovitz would give a very, very fast overview.
Sure. I'm just going to have Austin pull up the website.
Okay, great.
So good evening. And for those who don't know me, I'm Cheryl Rabinowitz. I'm the Manager of Instructional Technology. And our Smart Schools Investment Plan, we've been working on that for a few years. And it's been a very collaborative effort with the community, the Technology Committee, the Technology Department. In order to apply for money that's funded by New York State, we had to have a district technology plan. We had to do assessments of what we needed, and we had to do surveys. So all that work was done behind the scenes. We got a lot of input. Oh, thank you, Austin. And on our website, is this mouse working? Okay, but I could speak, so it's no problem. On their website is our Smart Schools Investment Plan. I presented to the community back in January, then I presented again in May, and that was more in depth of what we were using the district technology funding for. So what we're making a recommendation for, is the mouse working? No? Okay. Could you pull up the district, can you pull up the Smart Goals plan? And I can keep speaking. But the plan will tell you what we're looking to use the money for. Great. So right now, this is what's been on the website since May, and we had an email address set up so people can review the information and respond. So that's the background. What we're looking to do, if you could scroll down, Austin, keep going, okay. So it's aligned with our district, it's aligned with Goal 4 in our district technology plan. Put my glasses on, okay, scroll down a little bit more. And what our district technology plan says, we need to ensure a fully functioning, robust network and wireless. So that's the alignment to the goal in our technology plan. And if you scroll down, this is what we're proposing to use the money for. Upgrading the cabling of the network for wireless, security camera, PA systems, and phone systems. Upgrading the wireless access point to continue to support computerized testing and instruction in the classrooms for teaching and learning, and also for guest Wi-Fi and work productivity. We're upgrading the security camera systems, the clock and the PA systems, and the phone systems. The money that's allocated for the smart bond is $1,771,233. So we did the plan. This is what we're looking at today. And then if it's accepted and approved, we submit it to New York State. And then once they approve it, and I will be honest, it takes from 6 months to a year because it has to go through all the approvals. Sometimes we'll get a bounce back and ask us to be more specific on something. Even though we're very specific, those are the reviewers and they're looking at everything. Once it's approved, then the district can move ahead with purchasing this equipment that we're allocating here, and then we get reimbursed. And that's basically the whole idea of the plan. It's in 2 areas. It's in school connectivity and high-tech security features. So I hope I wasn't too elaborate, but I just wanted to give the community and the board the background on this.
Yes,
If you have any questions, I'm happy
Very
to
helpful. And yeah, just to clarify,
Sure.
we front the money and then get reimbursed for it, so it is of no cost to the taxpayers.
That's
in the long run.
correct. There is no cost. And it will take 6 months to a year, you know, and then the board would decide when they want to do that. But once we get the approval, then we can move ahead.
Great.
Were there any other questions?
If someone that's listening on the YouTube wants to reach out with a question, who would they contact?
Great. So there was an email address. It was smartschools@hudsoncsd.org. It's been since May. It's the last 90 days. And that email went to Dr. Pennyman, myself, Ms. Ferry, and Tyler Kritzman. To this date, we haven't received any questions or comments, you know. And a lot of the information was out there through the presentations, through the recordings, but no one has reached out with any questions. Hope that answers that. Great. And then once the board votes on it tonight, then tomorrow I would submit it in the portal. It would go to Dr. Pennyman, and then Dr. Pennyman would review it and submit it in the portal to Dyson. Thank you.
Great. Any questions or comments from the public?
Oh, you're welcome. It was a whole team effort. It really was. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. So make a motion to close the Smart Schools Investment Plan public hearing at 6:40 p.m.
Second.
All in favor? And make a motion to approve the preliminary Smart Schools Investment Plan dated May 20th, 2025.
Second.
All in favor? Great. Next, that brings us to the district safety plan public hearing. Our district safety plan is something that is mandated by New York State. We have a district safety committee that works in conjunction with Questar 3 BOCES to develop this plan. Has been posted for the public comment period starting July 3rd. And so I'd like to make a motion to open the district safety plan public hearing at 6:41 p.m.
Second.
All in favor? And at this time, would open it for questions or comments from the board or community.
Go ahead, Wayne, and then I'll go. I think there are some edits that need to be made to this before it's ready to be finalized, because we don't actually have the district safety team filled out in the chart. So that's
I
just
did
like,
ask last meeting.
Yeah, we talked about that. I think at last meeting we flagged that that was blank, and we had talked about filling that in. And there are also some dates missing in terms of the timeline of required things. So I don't think this is ready as is.
Tracy's here to talk to us from Questar.
Yeah, I believe that was a recommendation to not have actual names and just have job titles.
I'm Tracy Cattle Farmer from Questar and Health and Safety.
We can't hear you, I'm sorry.
Can you hear me? I'm too short.
There you go.
Okay, so Tracy Catalfamo from Questar from Health and Safety. Because of that ask at the last board meeting, we did update and add in names. I know Leslie had shared a version of that with me. It asked me to fill in names, and we did do that. I know that was supposed to be the document, and fill in all the dates. So all the dates for all of those things were based on committee meeting dates from the district safety meeting, certain things that already have come to you in the board meeting, public comment, things like that, but she had
That's
that
not
to
the version
share.
that's here. And it also does say, like, regardless of whether or not names, so we do want names added, but there's also, like, one of the dates is that we've approved that safety team also as a board. So I think we just have to get those two things in order here.
You're talking about the top line on page 3.
The top line says the district safety team was appointed by the board, required action, appointed by, date, check when completed.
So that did happen at our district reorg meeting. So it's possible that we just don't have
The names here.
the latest version in board docs.
Go back and look at that in board docs.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead, Wayne.
Good evening, Wayne Kinney, science teacher at the high school, past president, Hudson Teachers Association. I have been on the safety committee for about 1.5 years now, as when I was union president. And I just want to point out, one of the things we've discussed that is supposed to also go into this plan by the beginning of the school year is what we're doing for the new legislation on classroom temperatures in terms of heat levels. I know Tyler was working on it with Questar. I don't know where you guys got on it at this point, but like if the temperature gets to be 82 degrees, they're supposed to measure at a certain point in the classroom, come up with, there's supposed to be a list of things to do to try to keep the classroom cooler. If it gets above 88, I think it is, then the students have to be moved out of that room. I just want to make sure that people who weren't on the committee understand that we did look at that. And Tyler was supposed to get back to us this summer, and he was working on it with Questar and other districts. Like I said, Tracy might have an update on that, I'm not sure.
I can speak to that. So originally, so that's a part of legislation that was signed by the governor in the fall, and then there was an amendment that was made when the session opened in January that she signed, and as part of that amendment, it removed a requirement to include it in your district safety plan. So a plan is in process with Tyler. It's very specific as to certain classrooms. So part of the overall amendment was that he talked about students being removed from spaces if the temperature reaches 88 degrees, and that amendment lists when practical, because part of the understanding was if one classroom is 88 degrees, it might not be practical to close the entire building, right? It might be practical to say this particular classroom and air conditioning unit's not working, it's, you know, a little elevated, but maybe we can move to the library where the central air is working and there's no other classes. So those specifics about what to do in certain rooms, certain buildings, Tyler was working on coming up with a list of which classrooms had what kind of air conditioning, what possibilities were, what larger spaces maybe could be used. But there will be a plan for that. But again, part of that amendment was it doesn't have to be included and written into the district-wide safety plan to be formally adopted by the board. And I think some of that is because it's fluid, because it depends on the situation and what could or couldn't happen in various circumstances.
And also, we have action steps that are in place at the elementary school when it gets too hot. There's action steps that's been happening this year. Whether they move to the gym, whether so we just have to get them in writing, yes. and so that and you know it is fluid, and yes, so we're aware of the 88 rule. There are action steps that happen right now. We know the classrooms at the elementary schools that aren't air conditioned, so there are action steps that are actually happening. We just need to put them in writing.
I don't think on July 2nd, the names aren't there on July 2nd either, so I do still think we need to approve the committee, unless I'm missing something there.
Right. Okay, so I guess the question then is, what is the latest date that this safety plan needs to be approved by?
So the plan needs to be approved by September 1st, but the committee members don't have to be written into the plan. It could just be like I know there's lists of titles in there, so that the list of committees, a lot of school districts with change in staff, with change in different positions, responsibilities, leadership, things like that, they will add in their names in an October or November meeting even. So that can be something that can be done after the fact and added back in that chart.
But it sounds like you do have the names,
We-
and there is a version with the names.
Yes.
So we can just approve it at the next meeting and still be good by September 1.
Yes.
Okay, great. Are there any further comments from the board or from the public? Okay, so then I'll make a motion to close the district safety plan public hearing at 6:48 p.m.
Second.
All in favor? And then also make a motion to table the 2025-2026 district safety plan for discussion and approval at a later date.
Second.
All in favor? Great. So at this time, we do have a need for an early executive session. I make a motion to enter executive session at 6:48 p.m. for the purposes of discussing the employment history of a particular person or persons.
Second.
All in favor? All right, we will be back as soon as possible. Thank you for your patience. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. I make a motion to exit executive session at 7:04 p.m.
Second.
All in favor? Brings us to our personnel agenda. I make a motion to accept personnel agenda items A 1 through 10 and B 1 through 2.
Second.
Any?
Can you just give me 1 second? I
Yes,
wanna-
please. Yes. Let me know if you have any questions or comments.
I don't know if it's that important, but I did notice that on the field trip for my brother's keepers, that it wasn't signed off on by the administrator.
This is personnel.
Consensus. This is
We'll
personnel.
be
Oh, I'm
there in a
sorry.
minute. Yes.
We're new, excuse us. I'm good though, I looked at what I wanted.
Okay, great. All in favor? Okay. Brings us to welcome new staff.
Okay, good evening. Olivia Stavey, will you please stand? Olivia Stavey is our new teacher that's going to be joining our team here in Hudson. She was born and raised in Saugerties, and she calls the Hudson Valley her home. She acquired her Bachelor of Arts in Adolescence Education with a concentration in English. During her studies, she completed field work at the Kingston High School and co-taught the Hudson Valley Writing Project workshop at Vassar. And this past spring, she fulfilled her student teaching requirement at the Hudson High School and Kyra Durham Junior High. She's an avid reader, writer, and traveler, and a fun fact is she's currently learning how to bookbind. She's grateful to Hudson City School District for welcoming her and supporting her studies and career as an educator. And if you'd like to tell everyone where you'd be. 10th grade ELA teacher here at the high school. So welcome.
Welcome.
Dr. Pennyman, I gave you another one.
That was here, but I didn't hear it. All right, Miss Nicole Goins, please stand. Nicole Goins graduated from SUNY New Paltz in December of 2024. She earned a Bachelor of Science in Early Childhood Education, and since graduating, she's worked as a substitute teacher for K through 8 throughout the Roundout Central School District. And she also has experience working as a preschool teacher. In her spare time, she enjoys baking, cooking, reading, and spending time with family. And Ms. Goings, please let everyone know where you will be next year. 5th grade at MCSES, and welcome to our team.
Welcome. Okay, great. That's everybody?
Yes, I have, yep.
All right. Next, that brings us to public forum. Leslie, did anybody sign up?
I have Nikki Janito.
Thank you. So everybody know, each speaker has 3 minutes to present their concerns or comments. We cannot permit public discussion about individual district personnel or students, and the board is here to listen and will respond either at a future meeting or have the appropriate administrator get in touch with you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Nikki Janito. As you all know, I've been here many times. I would like to commend IT for your presentations. They always have all the information that everybody needs, and there's never anything left out. So I'd like to thank you, because some of them don't have it. I also would like to thank the new board members for actually asking questions. We haven't seen that in a long time. Also back to ask, how long does it take for
understand, Nikki, and like I said, we've been actively working with the central office to try and gather all this information, and we'll hopefully.
Said at a presentation. If you said that's how you're saving money at a presentation, you should know what those positions are. You shouldn't have to go find out where they are. You should know because you said it. Not you specifically, but that was the presentation of the budget.
Like I said, I understand completely. I do, and I understand your frustration.
It's crazy to be still waiting for the question that I've been asking since at least May. I might have asked it in April when we started the budget process.
Thank you, Nikki. Anybody else?
No, that's it.
Brings us to the superintendent's report.
Good evening. So last week we had a wonderful administrator retreat. We also became creative, thank you Ms. Coons, where we were able to schedule our retreat at different locations. So we had a retreat at the Chamber of Commerce one day, then the next day we hopped to the Hudson Library, then the next day we hopped back here to central office, and then back to the library. So thank you for your help with that. We talked about what's happening next year. We talked about MTSS, PLC, et cetera, all of the initiatives for next year, and that information will be forthcoming. But we plan together as a team. We have finalists for junior high school positions, so in case anyone's wondering what's going on with positions in the junior high, we do have some teacher finalists that are going to be coming to me later this week, and I had one finalist this afternoon for the elementary. So we are filling those slots that are still open for the junior high and the elementary. The Bell to Bell band. So this week I had a chance to meet with student representatives to read through our Bell to Bell policy. And as you know, we have one completed, but it doesn't mean that we can't go back and make adjustments as necessary. So a letter, we already have a letter that's there to remind parents about this. That will go home with students on the first day. And then we'll also put it on Parent Square before the first day. I have that letter. And then students will not be allowed to access their devices from the start of the school day until they're ready to depart for that day. And I'm working very closely with the principals. So all of this will be covered during the professional development on the superintendent conference days in September. But the information has been out there for staff as well as families to read. And the schools did weigh in on this. They had teams that they develop in the schools to weigh in on this policy. So this did not just come from central office. Everyone had chance to weigh in on it. We had a backpack program this summer where for those students that weren't attending summer programs, we bought backpacks with books and reading for them, and some of those students weren't able to pick up their books. So we've been delivering them. I dropped some off this morning. I'm going to continue to drop some off tomorrow morning. Ms. Paduzzi, Mr. Brenneman, we're all working together to get these backpacks. Also, if you have a junior high student, there was some scholastic books given to junior high students. So what I'm saying to families that are listening now, if you did not get your scholastic books for the junior high students that are not attending summer program, please contact Mr. Bear or Ms. Patch. That's all for my report, and thank you.
I have a quick question, if I can ask you a question. I noticed on the first slide there was a picture of Mrs. Paduzzi at the administrators.
Yes, yes. I can explain that. Ms. Paduzzi is a TOSA, teacher on assignment, who works with us as the literacy coordinator. She has been a part of the planning with the former executive director of teaching and learning, and I have too, but Ms. Paduzzi is very intricate with implementing these programs and supporting the schools. She didn't come every day. On the days that I needed her to be there, when we had, like Friday, we had Branch and Minds, MTSS presenting. On the days that we were discussing the areas of which she will support within the schools, those are the days that she was there. She did not attend every day. So she does not work in a supervisory capacity, as you know. She only works in a support capacity.
Yeah, my understanding was just that the administrative retreat was for administrators. That's why I asked.
Oh, no, I chose to ask her to come. It was for administrators, but we needed her to be there so that they could know how she would lend her support for the different areas of the curriculum. Thank you.
Okay, it brings us to our consensus agenda. I know there's a few things for discussion here. I think first thing we want to do is make a motion to table consensus agenda items D and E for further discussion.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Any other changes suggested here?
I'd like to discuss G.
G. Okay. So then I'll make a motion to accept consensus agenda items A through C, F, and H through R.
Second.
All in favor? And make a motion to discuss consensus item G.
Second.
Great.
So yeah, I guess so. We're seeing financials now. I appreciate it. I know we're working on process and getting more timely information. I guess this is showing the general fund expenditures. I see it says we've only spent $32,000 on teachers' retirement so far this year, and I guess I'm wondering what that's going to look like. If this is final, or if we're going to have adjustments to this at some point.
Matt, you're looking at the June report. And,
Yeah. So this
and
is
what's the code for it?
So it's code 9020-800 teachers' retirement.
What page is it?
It's page 8. So there's a $1.9 million budget, but it says we've only spent $32,000
In the June, not the May, right?
in June. Well, I think it says in
Well, yeah,
both, but
like.
do we anticipate spending $1.9 million on teachers' retirement?
I can go back to you on that.
Okay. And then there's the open question on the negative expenditure lines. I mean, they're in there. I'm not going to rattle off all of them, but I'm concerned about the negative expenditures and how that presents in the budget compliance, I guess.
So just to clarify, the current appropriation negatives or the
Year-to-date expenditures that are negative.
the year-to-date expenditures. So as I mentioned earlier, there are several things that have been miscoded in terms of grants, and that is a constant daily working on in terms of discovering what items belong in grant funds that have been put in the general fund instead, and so still working on that.
Okay. Do we have a timeline for identifying these ones specifically?
I mean, my hope is soon, obviously.
Okay.
So the grant funds and many of the grant funds, the title funds will end in August. And then we have another grant that ends in the end of September. And I do also have some amendments that are pending that have not been approved that will also kind of change in terms of where funding has been adjusted.
Okay. I mean, my overall concern is that the statement itself is saying that we have $2.3 million unexpended in the general fund, but the TRS is a $1.9 million expenditure. The negatives are hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I guess I'm concerned about the state of last year's budget compliance. So I guess in terms of critical events that we're looking at, I think that one's pretty high on the list.
I agree.
All right.
Any further questions? Everybody understand Matt's line of questioning? Okay, great. Just to clarify, there are negative budget lines in the budget status report. Ms. Ferry is suggesting that some of those may need to be coded to grants, which would decrease the negative in our general fund balance. So we're going to make a motion to table this. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
Make a motion to table consensus agenda item G.
Second.
All in favor? There is no new business. There is no old business. Brings us to public forum. Nobody else signed up. Brings us to board discussion. Anybody have anything else they'd like to add or discuss?
I just wanted to add about the NISBA Leadership Conference over the weekend. I was able to attend it last year. I was able to attend it this year. It's good to attend and spend time with fellow board members, an opportunity to just learn about each other. And really some great speakers. You get to talk to other board members around the state. You get to talk to administrators around the state. And they do a really good job of programming. So I think the opportunities that can arise for board members for development, should really be taken advantage of.
Great. Thank you for sharing. Okay, anybody else? So it brings us to upcoming meeting dates. August 6th, 2025, there is an audit committee meeting in the district conference room at 10 a.m. August 12th, 2025, there is a policy committee meeting in the high school library at 5 p.m. August 19th, 2025, regular Board of Education meeting, high school auditorium, 6 p.m. September 9th, 2025, policy committee meeting in the high school library at 5 p.m. September 16th, 2025, regular Board of Education meeting in the high school auditorium, 6 p.m.
And I'm sorry, I must have left off the facilities committee meeting.
Thank you, that was my question.
August 22nd, 4 o'clock.
There you go.
District conference room. It is a Friday.
Okay, so Friday, August 22nd, 2025, Facilities Committee meeting, District Conference Room at 4 p.m. At this time, we have a need for an second executive session. I make a motion to enter executive session at 7:24 p.m. for the purposes of discussing the employment history of a particular person or persons.
Second.
All in favor? There will be no further business after this executive session. Thank you all for being here.
Mark, do you need to be
Oh, and I make a motion to appoint Mark DePace as clerk pro tem.
Second.
All in favor?